to CR's virtual classes. Today we are going to see an important question, essential elements of a valid consideration. It is most important for your long answer as well as for the scenarios also. Okay, we all know, right, what is called as consideration, something in written. So in order to get a valid consideration, we have to follow these essential points. First one is what? Consideration should move at the desire of the promisor. It may move from promisee or any other person. Then consideration may be past, present or future. Then consideration need not be adequate. Then consideration must be real and not illusory. Consideration must not be something which the promisor is already bound to do. It must be lawful and it may be in any form. It may be positive or negative, or forbearance to sue is also a valid consideration. So these are the points which we are going to discuss in this video. Yes. Let us get into the introduction. First of all, what is called as consideration? As we have already discussed in essentials of valid contract, what is called as consideration? It is something in written that is called as what? Quid pro quo. Right? The party who is promising to do something must get something in written, otherwise the agreement is not valid. See, for example, we have Mr. Ram here, okay, and he is having his house property, okay. He is going to sell his house property to Mr. Sham. Let me assume for 1 crore rupee, right? Okay. So what happens here? Once Mr. Ram is selling his house property to Mr. Sham, Sham has to give 1 crore rupee to Mr. Ram. Are you getting me? So if we take up in this case, both of the parties are what? Getting what? Something in return, right? For Sham, what is the consideration? For Sham, house property is a consideration. And for Ram, what is the consideration? Of course, 1 crore money is the consideration. Are you getting me? It is the price with which others' promise is bought. Right? For example, Mr. Ram is selling the house property. Not for example, now we took that as an example. Mr. Ram is selling his house property to Mr. Sham. Do you think that of course he has to get something back from the other party, right? So if Mr. Sham is saying that sorry, I don't have any money, do you think that Mr. Ram will sell the house property to Mr. Sham? No, he will not be. Are you getting it? So that is what it is, the price with which the other's promise is bought. So consideration is something of the value which the promisee has given. In the sense what? See, for example, Mr. Sham has already given Mr. Ram 1 crore rupee. In the sense what? It can be relating to the past. Gives. In the sense what? Now Ram is transferring the house property to Sham. Parallelly, he is giving 1 crore to Mr. Ram. And promise to give in the sense what? For example, like 50 lakhs advance you pay me now. At the time of registration, balance 50 lakhs you can pay. So consideration is relating to what? 3 tenses, right? It can be relating to the past, it can be relating to the present, or it can be relating to the future also. Are you getting me? So consideration is something of the value which the promisee has given, gives, or promised to give in return for the promise. Yes, is it clear now, all of you? So consideration is what? Quid pro quo. It is the most important keyword. If you are writing, consideration is called as what? Quid pro quo or something written, and it is a promise with which the other's promise is bought. They'll give you 2 marks. Right? Yes. Next one. We're looking into the definition which is given under Indian Contract Act 1872. When at the desire of the promisor, desire in the sense what? The promisor has to say, okay, you do like this. For example, we have Mr. A, Mr. B. Okay, Mr. A is selling. Okay, we'll have contract. Okay, rather than taking Mr. A as Mr. B, we both will have a contract. Okay, I'm having this pen. Okay, so I'm saying that the cost of the pen is 10,000 rupees. Come on, purchase from me. Let me assume that we have one of the student who is watching our class. Her name is Radhika. Okay, Radhika, are you interested in purchasing my pen? Yes, she's saying, yes ma'am, I'm most interested. So cost of the pen is what? 10,000 rupees, right? So I will be giving the pen to Radhika and Radhika will be giving me 10,000 rupees, right? So whenever the consideration, in the sense what? Whenever I'm giving the offer, it should be at the desire of me. In the sense what? At the promisor, right? When at the desire of the promisor, the promisee or any other person has done or abstained from doing something, such act or abstinence or promise is called a consideration for the promise. It is called as what? Abstain from doing. Okay, it's not from, it is from doing something. Such act or abstinence or promise is called as what? A consideration for the promise. In the sense, what, as a promiser, I have to wholeheartedly say, come on, purchase a pen from me. And you are accepting my promise, right? Radhika, are you there? Yes. So you have to pay me 10,000 rupees. Right? So if you take up your consideration, it can be positive or negative. If Radhika is interested in purchasing from me, this pen from me, of course it's fine. She'll be taking the pen from me, purchasing the pen from me, and she'll be paying me 10,000 rupees. If she's saying no also, fine. It is called as what? Negative. So the consideration can be positive both ways. If it is positive, the contract will happen, right? If it is negative, of course the contract will not happen. Abstain means what? Not doing something. This is one of the important word which I'll be explaining you in the last point, right? Next one. Consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. Just now we discussed, right? When I'm selling this pen to Radhika, I must be wholeheartedly have to say her, Radhika, purchase my pen, right? Consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. If the promisee has done something at the desire of the third party, it will not be a valid consideration between promiser and promisee. See, the contract is between whom and whom? Between me and Radhika, right? She has to pay the money to me or she has to pay the money to my friend. Okay, let us get back to the previous example only. So Radhika is going to purchase the pen from me for how much rupees? 10,000 rupees, right? Whereas one of my friend, okay, she knows the information. She is calling Radhika. Radhika, you come. I heard that you are going to purchase the pen from one of my business law, one of my friend, business law madam. Okay, at the time of purchasing, what I'll do, after you're paying 10,000 rupees to madam, I will pay you 100 rupees. I'll pay you 100 rupees extra. Actually, the contract is between whom and whom? Me and who? Radhika. Now, who is my friend? My friend is a stranger, right? So, if the promisee has done something at the desire of the third party, it will not be a valid consideration between promiser and promisee. See, for example, Radhika purchases pen from me, okay, and she paid me 10,000 rupees. Whereas now she's asking my friend, come on, ma'am, you are ma'am's friend, right? Pay me 100 rupees because you told me at the time when you are purchasing pen from madam, I'll pay you 100 rupees. Actually, the contract is between whom and whom? That is me and as well as between you, Radhika. And my friend is what? It's a stranger. Right? Now you cannot demand any payment from my friend that is a stranger. Of course, we do have certain exceptions for it that we'll be looking at later. Right now, you just understand consideration must move at the desire of the promiser. For instance, for example, voluntary services is not a consideration. What is called voluntary service? See, out of your own will and wish. For example, on the way you're going to a college, suddenly you saw a building kept ablaze. In the sense, what? It's been what to say, ablaze in the sense what, someone has cracked a fire, okay, on the building. So it has been completely slowly it has been ablazing. The fire is step by step destroying the property. What do? You will be enjoying that show, very happy like this? No, you'll be calling the fire engine immediately, right? So out of your own wish you are doing it, right? For that you cannot expect any payment from the house owner. P sees Q's house on fire and helps in extinguishing it and dousing it. Okay, Mr. Q did not ask for his help, so P cannot demand any payment for his services. Okay, for example, you're going to Satya Sai Baba temple, you're doing some services in the temple. Do you think that you will demand any payment from the priest of the temple? No, you have done it voluntarily, right? Of course. For example, look into the other example. Mr. A's son is lost. Okay, this boy lost. And Mr. B voluntarily goes and search for him. Mr. B cannot claim any reward or remuneration for finding out A's son because he had not done it at Mr. A's request. Mr. A lost his son. Okay. Mr. B, his friend, he's going and searching for his son. He got his son back and he has given to Mr. A. And he's saying that, come on, make the payment to me because I got your son back. Again, Mr. A asks, excuse me, come on. Did I ask you to search my son? You only went voluntary, right? For that, you will not be paying. Okay, let us understand with the other scenario, that is with the case example which happened earlier. See, we have two parties here, Durga Prasad and other one is what? Baldev. Okay. See, we have district collector and he is asking to one of the contractor. Okay, he is a building contractor and we have a vegetable market here. So, district collector is calling the contractor, building contractor, to renovate this vegetable market. Actually, the contract is between whom and whom? District collector as well as between the contractor, right? Building contractor. Of course, what happened was the people those who have been like having their shops, the people those who have been having the shops in the vegetable market, what they are saying, okay, we are very happy to get this what is it, this vegetable market infrastructure renovated. What do you do? Once you complete the work, we will pay you an extra commission. We'll pay you extra commission to whom? The contractor. Okay. So if you take up here, district collector is a promisor. Okay. Contractor is whom? The promisee. Right. And the vegetable vendors, they are whom? The strangers. Right. Initially, the contract is between whom and whom? District collector as well as between the contractor. And the vegetable vendors, as they are being a strangers of this contract. So the contractor is getting his work done. Okay. And later on, he is receiving the payment from district collector also. And what happened was, like the vegetable vendors know, they told that right, once you complete this renovation work, like we will pay you an extra commission on the basis of how many articles we are selling every day. So this contractor, he is going and filing a suit against this vegetable vendors. So the court is declaring that what? Initially the contract is between whom and whom? District collector as well as between you, because as per the conservation rules, it should move at the desire of the promisor. If you take up this vegetable vendors, they are called as what? Strangers. So you are not supposed to entitled to receive the commission from the vegetable vendors. Are you getting me, all of you? Yes. Next one. It may move from the promisee or any other person. According to Indian Contract Act, the consideration may be moving from the promisee to a third party called as what? Stranger. He can enforce the contract on behalf of the promisee. See, as we discussed earlier, the contract is between promisor and promisee, whereas for the benefit of the third party, the promisor can enter into a contract. So if we take up here, we are having two parties, okay? Lakshmi Rani, old lady, and her daughter, and we have the third party who is called as what? Chinaya. That is daughter's aunt. That is old lady's sister. Okay. In this case, what happened was, first of all, we'll know the name of the case. The name of the case is called as what? Chinnaya versus Ramaya. Don't ask me, ma'am, what is this Chinnaya and Ramaya and all, because it all happened like before 19th century. So that's what, like, the name has been like this, very older names. So what happened was, this old lady, she has transferred her property, all of her property, by a gifted deed to her daughter. Okay. By stating the instruction that what? You have to pay your aunt, that is this old lady's sister, an annuity in the sense what, every year, like you have to pay 653 rupees for her maintenance. So on the same day, this girl, no, who? The daughter, she entered an agreement with her aunt that I will be paying you this annuity money of 653 rupees. Okay. So she just entered an like agreement with her, that is contract with her, and after that she did not pay. Right? And after that, what happened? This aunt, no, that is this old lady's sister, she went to court and she filed a suit against her whom? Niece. Okay. That this contract is made for my benefit only, whereas what happens here, as per the instruction of my sister, okay, my elder sister, my niece is not paying me annuity. Now where will I go for my source of livelihood? So the court declared that what, even though you are being a stranger, this contract is entered for your benefit. So the consideration is what? The consideration is indirectly moved from your niece to you. So you are supposed to get the annuity money from your niece. Are you getting me, all of it? This is one of the very, very important case. Next one. Consideration may be present, past or future. The consideration is an act to do something or not to do. Abstinence, this one I told you, I'll be explaining you the last side, which at the desire of the promisor. You know, right? Desire of the promisor, that's what we have seen in point number 1 and 2. Which has been, the consideration can be already done or abstain, do or abstain. It can be in present, or does or abstain. It can be in the future also. So consideration should exist. It can be in any way. It can be in past, present or future. Whichever the activity you do, consideration should be existing, right? We'll understand this better by reading this example. Mr. Ram Viha, he is a business studies teacher. Okay, he is entering into a contract with the students. That is, the students will be paid him in advance. That is, in the sense what, he already received the advance money, and he taught them after 3 months. This is called as what? Past consideration, right? The students are studying and paying to him now every month. This is called as what? Present consideration. He has to teach the students and they shall pay him after 6 months. This is called as what? Future consideration. If you take up in all of these cases, consideration is present, right? If you take up in the first case, he already received an advance, right? He received the consideration. And next thing is what? He is teaching and right now he is getting. And next is what? Like he will be like teaching in the future. He has to teach the students in the future, and in the future they will be paying him. Are you getting me? Yes. Next one. Consideration need not be adequate. See, consideration need not be adequate in the sense what? See, it should not be as per the market value. Okay. Generally, contract without consideration is void. However, it does not be adequate. It's not. It is need not even be equal in value to the what other party has given. See, for example, Mr. A is having a house property worth of 10 lakhs. Okay, he is selling that house property to one of his best friend, Mr. B, for 1 lakh. Do you think that this contract is valid? Of course, it is valid because what? A is concerned in the sense what? A has taken his decision out of his free will and heart in a happy mode because he is selling his house property to his one of his friend for 1 lakh. So if you take up here, of course, this agreement is a contract, notwithstanding with the inadequacy of the consideration. You cannot ask, no, madam, house property value is 10 lakh. How come he can sell it to 1 lakh to Mr. B? Of course, he can do it. Yes. Next one. Consideration must be real and not illusory. See, whenever that is the party to the contract, they are getting something back from each of the party, the consideration should be what? Real, in the sense what? It should have to happen practically and it should have some value in the eyes of law, but not illusory, impossible act and non-existing goods. This will be learning one by one. First thing, the following are not real consideration. Physical impossibility. See, for example, we have a witch, okay, and he's saying to like one of his what is he saying? Sorry, client. He's saying that like okay, your friend is dead, right? Okay, I'll put a life back into the dead body of your friend. Pay me 1 crore rupee. Of course, this is physically absolutely impossible. Are you getting me? Next one. Legal impossibility. See, we have Mr. M, okay, and he's a servant, and his boss has to recover money from one of his debtor, that is Mr. N. Okay, and what is saying? Servant is saying to one of his debtor, that is Mr. N. Mr. N, don't worry. On behalf of you, I will be making the payment to my master. Okay. So, for example, his master has to receive 25,000 rupees. Okay, from his debtor. Whereas Mr. M is saying, I will pay you 10,000 rupees. Right? This is of course legally not possible because a servant cannot legally discharge a debt due to his master. Okay. Next one. Uncertain consideration. What is called uncertain consideration? You're not very sure about it what the other party is getting. Okay. Example. We have Mr. X. He's a HR manager of ABC Limited. Okay. He's going to hire an employee and he's saying that you will be working in the rotational shift. Whereas your salary will not be fixing now, but you will be getting an attractive salary, lucrative salary. Do you think this is valid? Of course, it's not valid because this is what? Uncertain and it's indefinite. So, the consideration promised by HR manager is uncertain and not real and hence it is not enforceable. Right? Next one. Consideration must not be something which the promisor is already bound to do. Okay. What is this? See, let us understand this by taking this example. This example is very, very important. Definitely this type of scenario will be coming in the examination. Performance of legal duty is no consideration. We have Mr. Suraj, okay, he's agreeing to pay to a police officer that will pay you 20,000 rupees if you find out my missing bike. It was held that it's a void agreement as the officer is already bound under his duty to do so by law. See, we have Mr. Suraj, he lost his bike, he's going to police station and he's filing a complaint with the police inspector that he lost his bike, even FIR has been filed. And it is a duty of the police officer to find his bike and he has to, hand over to Mr. Suraj. But Mr. Suraj is saying that, sir, if you find my bike now, I'll pay you 20,000 rupees. It is indirectly what? Encouraging bike. Right? So, performance, so as an inspector, it is his duty to find out the bike and he has to what? Get back to the original owner. So, performance of legal duty is no consideration. Next one. Your promise to pay the advocate an additional sum of money if the suit was successful was held to be void. See, it is almost all related to the previous example only. See, we have an advocate. One of his clients is saying that, sir, if you win in this case, I'll pay you some extra money. Okay, apart from the the salary which we fixed before. Of course, no, the service money which we fixed before. This is also what indirectly encouraging, right? And it's not valid, right? Are you getting me this question? Next one, it must be lawful. Lawful in the sense what? It should be approved by law. The consideration given for an agreement must not be unlawful, immoral, opposed to public policy. Where it is unlawful, the courts do not allow an action on the agreement. For example, indulging in corruption, like indulging in terrorism, and vandalizing. Vandalizing means what? Destroying the public property by, like, by paying some money to the mob. Just one, like for example, if we take up this commotions and riots and all strikes, right? Suddenly someone will take the stone and they'll be pelting on the government buses. So encouraging it. These are called as what? Opposed to public policy, and it is unlawful because it's hurting the public welfare. So the consideration should be lawful. Even if the consideration in the agreement is partly lawful and partly unlawful, the unlawful part cannot be separated from the lawful part. For example, like Mr. X is having a house property, okay, and he's giving this house property on rent basis to one of his tenant, whereas his tenant is engaging in producing cocaine over there. See, letting of house property, giving house property for rent is legal, but for which purpose his tenant is using? For production cocaine. So both becomes what? Unlawful. Are you getting me? Yes. Next one. Hope so. Till now everything is clear. Next one. Consideration may be in any form. It can be in the form of money. It can be delivering of the goods. For example, you have your bike. You're giving your bike to bike mechanic for repairs. So he is doing some services to you, right? Of course, in turn you have to pay cash to him. Doing something, not doing something, making a profit, suffering a loss, taking a liability, etc. Next one. Consideration may be positive or negative. See, both this point, 8th point and 9th point, it is interlinked with the 10th point. Once I explain you this 10th point, you will be automatically understanding this 8th point and 9th point. One of the very, very important point, and few students get confused in understanding this point. Let me put it in a very, crisp manner, short manner. Forbearance to sue is a valid consideration. First of all, you have to know what is called as forbearance. Forbearance means what? Restraining or refraining. No, I will not do. Okay? This is exact the lexical meaning of the word forbearance. Forbearance to sue means not to sue or abstinent to do something. Abstinence means what? No, I will not do. So, in fact, the definition of the consideration itself is saying what? I told you, right? Consideration can be positive or it can be negative. So, valid consideration to do an act or not to do something. Therefore, where a party agrees not to do something unwritten, the other party gives some consideration. Such a consideration is valid consideration and it becomes a valid contract. As usual, we did not understand anything. Fine, we'll look into the example now. We have husband and wife, okay? We have husband and wife. There is a difference of opinion, conflicts happening between husband and wife, right? And like the wife is ready to sue her husband for maintenance allowance, agreed not to sue her husband, and in return, the husband agreed to pay her monthly allowance. Wife is saying that what? I'll be filing a suit against you. Okay? And whereas her husband is saying that, no, please, don't file a suit. What I'll do, we both live separately. For your every month maintenance, I will be giving an allowance. That is monthly maintenance allowance. So it is a valid contract in which consideration for the wife is her maintenance allowance and consideration for the husband is what? Wife forbearance to sue. In the sense what? Wife is saying that no, I will not be filing a suit against you, but you should have to pay me every month as promised monthly allowance. Are you getting me? This is called as what exactly? Abstinence. Now you're getting me? Consideration can be positive or it can be negative also. Is it very, very clear, all of you? So now we'll be looking into the important questions which they'll be asking you in the examination. See, this question itself is a very, very important question. They'll be directly asking you what is called as consideration, explain the essentials of valid consideration. And from this, ma'am, what are the important scenario questions? We discussed, right, Chinnaya versus Ramaya case. Okay, old lady and her daughter. So like this, they'll be changing the names and they'll be exactly asking you this in examination. And next, we have Mr. Suraj, right? He entered an agreement with this police officer to search his lost bike, and if inspector is finding his bike back, he will be paying some extra 20,000 rupees to him. That case is also very, very important. So this Chinnaya versus Ramaya case you can see in point number 2, and police officer case you can see in point number 6. So thank you so much for all of you for watching this video. I'll catch all of you in the next session. Good day.